grade 3. I hope you will be fine every time. Now, from this lesson, we talked about new subjects. خن كرام صلاوتان لبه ام گراینولاتان بو باسکردنی وانەیەکی نوێ ئەمڕۆ باسی وانەیەکی ئاسان و خۆشتان بۆکەم لە دەرسی ماتماتیکا. All of you open your book in page 148. In page, look, 148, we have lesson 6. We have new subject. It's called add fraction. If you will remember from previous lesson, we talked about fraction. For example, by this number is called fraction. And how reading this fraction? 1 over 2 or 1 divided 2 or 1 2. Kawata, by this number is called numerator and by this number is called denominator. Basha khan karam. Kawata, ema fair bun bam number out chi fraction number. And from this lesson we learn how adding two fraction numbers. Khan karan ema lam وانەیە فێر ئەبین چۆن ئەگەر دوو فراکشن نەمبەرمان هەبێ کۆیانەکەینەوانێ. ئێمە پێشووتر خوێن فێر بووین کە چۆن ژمارەکان کۆ ئەکەینەوە. بۆ نمونە ئەگەر بڵێین 3 + 4 چەند ئەکات؟ بەڵێ 7 ئەکات. بەم جۆرە خوێنکاران چۆن ژمارەکان کۆ ئەکەینەوە بە هەمان شێوە ئەتوانین فراکشن نەمبەرەکانیش کۆ بکەینەوە. بەڵام چۆن؟ Now we have new lesson. It's called add fraction. But before I will discuss a new subject, how adding to fraction. You must learn by which types of the fraction is called like fractions. ئێمە خوێنکاران بەر لەوەی باسی ئەوە بکەین چۆن فراکشنەکان کۆ ئەکەینەوانێ ئەبێت بزانین بە چ جۆرێکی فراکشنەکان ئەوتێ like fractions. باشە؟ If we have a fraction by the same denominator are called like fraction. کاتە خوێنکاران ئەگەر ئێمە فراکشنێک یان دوان یان سیانم هەبوو هەمان دینۆمینەیتەریان هەبوو، دینۆمینەیتەر وتمان ژێرەکەیە، ژێری فراکشنەکانمان وەکو یەک بوو، کاتە بەو جۆرە فراکشنانە ئەوتێ like fraction. پێی ئەوتێ چی؟ like fraction. وەل ئەمڕۆ لەم وانەیە فێر ئەبین how adding to like fraction. چۆن ئەو فراکشنانەی کە same denominator and like fraction چۆن کۆیان ئەکەینەوانێ. For example 1 out 3 and 2 over 3 or out 3 by two fraction is called like fraction. Kawata bam do fraction or like fraction. Why, teacher? Because have the same denominator. The denominator of the fraction we have number 3 and another fraction the denominator is number 3. And for example 3 over 9 and 4 over 9. 4 out 9. By two fraction is called like fraction. Why? Because have the same denominator. لبرو جيري هر دو fraction كمان وكو يكا كان number 9 now we have number 9 so by two fraction is called like fraction. كاتب بم دو fraction أو كي like fraction. دانكي كمان هي بون منا 2 out 7 and 3 out 7 so by two fraction is called like fraction. Why? Because have the same denominator. كاتب خنكر هر كاتب دو fraction يان زاترم هبو يان أمانة 3 out 8 plus C 1 out 8 plus C 2 1 out 8 كاتب بام fraction أنا أو تيجي by third fraction is called like fraction. Why? Because have the same denominator. كاتب fraction يان زاترم هبو كهمان جيريان جيري same denominator have the same denominator كان يعني وكو يكبو كاتب بام fraction أو like fraction. And from this lesson we learn how adding like fraction. ولم للواني أمرا إما فير أبين شون أو like fraction كان كو أكينو شون أو fractionاني كهمان denominator يعني هيا كو يعني أكينو add يعني أكين. To explain this we have example. Look, and from this example asked us find some from part A. لپارتی A اگر قد بيخن كاران چیم هيا 1 out 4 plus 2 out 4. Okay? 2 fraction is like fraction or no? Yes, is like fraction. Why? Because have the same denominator. كواتا جيريان وكويك إلاقي نمريتر كونه به جواز بيان وكويك به مرجع ليريا جيريان وكويك به like fraction بن 2 adding like fraction بوي من بيم أمدو fraction كو كمانه always 2 adding like fraction keep the denominator or stays the same denominator كواتي يشكي كاتك دو fraction كو اوكينو كز جيريان وكويكا يشكي هما denominator انو سيتوا نتشي denominator كان كو كيتوانا ورا هردو denominator كا we have the same denominator right so keep the denominator or stays the same denominator right number 4 كواتا مادام جيريان وكويكا بهمان شوا همان جيرجن اسمه and after that adding just numerator because have the same denominator so you must just add in the denominator كاتي just add in the numerator كاتي هردو numerator كا هردو سركا كوكينو 1 plus 2 1 plus 2 equal 3 because have the sign of addition so the numerator adding the numerator 1 plus 2 we have number 3 and keep the denominator because have the same denominator part B 3 out 6 plus 2 out 6 so because have the same denominator 2 fraction is called like fraction keep the denominator or stay the same denominator after that adding 2 numerator 3 plus 2 equal 5 5 out 6 or 5 divided 6 كواتا أتوانين بلين 5 out 6 يعني 5 divided 6 بمجور أخنرتو خنكارا أما party A و B ين بوشي بو party B و C خنكاران سيريكن چيم هيا party C و D هيا 1 out 3 plus 1 out 3 look by 2 fraction it's called like fraction right yes because have the same denominator so keep the denominator and after that just add in numerator 1 plus 1 equal 2 بمجور خنكارم part D 2 out 4 plus 2 out 4 because 2 fraction have the same denominator or like fraction so keep the denominator we have number 4 and just add in the numerator 2 plus 2 4 so 4 out 4 or 4 divided 4 باشا خين كاران 4 divided 4 چنكات ها اما خين بشتر 4 divide 4 if any number divides itself number so equal number 1 so 4 divided 4 equal number 1 أتواني أما بنوسي أشتواني هربم جورة بجيب يلي كشنابه يم بوشي part E we have 10 out 6 plus 4 out 16 10 out 16 plus 4 out 16 because have like fraction have the same denominator so you must keep the denominator as number 16 write it again number 16 10 plus 4 equal 14 and part F we have 3 out 5 plus 2 out 5 so keep the denominator because have the same denominator number 5 3 plus 2 5 5 out 5 or 5 divided 5 divided 5 equal number 1 كاتب بجور خنكران بابتي أمرو معمو زور آسانا هيج قرزنيا ولا كوتايا بوي باشتر تيبكين سيري فيديو يكين بلان بلو سيري فيديو كين چن homework يكن بو هي بويوا in page 149 in exercise number 1 to exercise number 7 is homework for you كاتخن كان exercise number 1 وهتاكون number 7 homework بويوا بهواي سود بينو سەرکەوتن بۆیەوە و لە کۆتای بۆی باشتر لەم وانەی ئەمڕۆمان تێبگەین پێکەوە سەری ڤیدیۆ بکەین سەرکەوتەوە سپاس.
Adding fractions with a common denominator. We have two fractions, and here's a model to represent them. We have to add them together. Both of the wholes are divided up into 8 parts, so we've got denominators of 8 on both of these fractions. In total, we have some number of parts out of 8. We add the shaded parts to find out how many parts we've got, and that's going to be our numerator. 3 plus 4 is 7 parts out of 8. If I remove the model and we just focus on the fractions, you can see the denominator is unchanged. It stays as parts out of 8. So you can see, when you add fractions, if the denominator is the same, you keep it and just add the numerators. In this example, we've got 6 parts out of 10 plus 2 parts out of 10. 6 plus 2 is 8 parts out of 10. But then I can say to you, I want you to reduce your fraction to its lowest terms. If you've watched my other films on fractions so far, you'll say to yourself, I know what to do here. 8 and 10 are both even numbers, so they can be divided by 2. I can simplify this fraction. And when you divide top and bottom by 2, you get 4 over 5. That is a simplified fraction. It is now reduced to its lowest terms. The rule is, if you can reduce a fraction to its lowest terms, have a Nike moment and just do it. And you may be asked to add more than 2 fractions together, like this. 4/7 plus 2/7 plus 5/7. Here's a quick way of laying this out so you don't make any mistakes. And I use this myself all the time. I have a common denominator of 7, so I know my answer will be something over 7. I'm going to extend the fraction bar. Then I write in my numerators over the top. 4 plus 2 plus 5. This strategy is designed to make sure students don't make the mistake of accidentally adding denominators. And you know, we never add the denominators. Next, you just add it up. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 5 is 11. We get 11 over 7. That's the numerators added, but now we've got an improper fraction, so it won't do. But that's okay, because you know how to change it to a proper fraction, don't you? Remember how? The denominator is 7. That means there's 7 parts in one whole. How many groups of 7 are there in 11? Well, there's one lot of 7, and what's left over? Count it up. 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 left over, and that's our numerator. Put that back over the original denominator of 7, and we're done. Our answer is 1 4/7. Practice adding fractions with a common denominator.